Hello everyone, I'm Steve. Mark's still at work, and this is Smokey Steve and Mark. Either welcome or welcome back. And happy Thursday. We're getting there. The weeks are they're just rolling by. I hope everyone is well, everyone is safe. Please follow public health protocols wherever whatever they happen to be in your region, and look out for yourself and the people around you, okay? That's the PSA for today. So today we are going to continue a discussion of life after caretaking, as we've been following Cynthia Beaumont, the creator, also the name of her channel at the moment. It has gone through a number of metamorphoses, and I can't recall at the moment. Let's see, there was Cynthia and Thomas Beaumont when Tommy was still alive, rest in peace. Then Cynthia Beaumont, then Jersey Girl Journals, Cynthia Talks Tea, My Little Part of the World, Made You Look, and then back to Cynthia Beaumont again, I think. Did I do good? Okay. So this week I wanted to do something a little bit different. We've been following Cynthia when her husband Tommy was still alive, their experience of dealing with his cancer treatment and decisions they made, and ultimately, unfortunately, he passed away. Then following Cynthia as the channel became entirely her own. Tommy was a big part of the content, especially in the last year of the channel. Originally, it was mostly her and Tommy and her mom, when she was still with us, were kind of like special guests on the channel. So when Tommy passed away, it left Cynthia with a big gap of what to fill with content, and it was filled with Richard Simmons initially, some mukbangs, a lot of tuna sandwiches, some Progresso soup, ASMR stuff, videos of cats, a lot of different things. Going into the last month or so, maybe month and a half, there's been a trend in content where she has some videos that are nice enough, but they don't get a lot of high views. And Cynthia, according to her, her only source of revenue is YouTube. She used to be a lot more vocal about needing money to pay the rent. That doesn't come up anymore. She used to be much more of a cheapskate in discussion about things cost this, cost that. Doesn't seem to be as much of an issue at this point. She's also overflowing with packages, whether it's because she has one or two extremely generous subscribers, viewers, or she's buying herself a lot of shit and saying that other people got it for her. I think it's a mixture of the two. I don't think it's all Cynthia, but I don't think it's all subscribers. I don't know what percentage is which, but I know that she has a couple that are extremely generous to her. And it's their prerogative to be extremely generous to whoever they would like to be generous to. It's curious to me that they landed on Cynthia as a person to share their generosity with, because I tend to be generous with people who actually are struggling, not who, who actually can't get access to food. But at any rate, so this week I wanted to touch on something a little bit different. So rather than going through in the old Foodie Beauty-esque way, video by video by video, I just wanted to talk about a certain theme. And the theme that came up in a video that some had suggested might be about Mark and I, because the words douchebag came up. And there was a video about spilling some tea. And in the video, it was talking about Tommy's cancer journey that was documented, about people making observations about it, about why certain people wouldn't make observations about other people's cancer journeys, and about the lack of family support that Cynthia believes that she and Tommy received during his rounds of treatment. So, what is and what isn't fair game when it's on YouTube? What content is okay to comment on and what isn't? Foregoing the fact that every video, unless you say otherwise, usually has a comment section, which invites comments. So, and you can even leave that alone and say if you like or dislike a video by comments and thumbs. So, is it fair game to comment on other channels' content? Well, of course, comment section. But to do reviews or reactions? Well, it's not unprecedented. If you look at larger mediums like television, let's just say someone was watching The Real Housewives of New York, for example, and they had some thoughts about things they liked about the show and things they didn't, things they thought were controversial and little conspiracy theories. One might make a video sharing those thoughts. Now, those people in New York, these Real Housewives, they're real people with real feelings. They may have thoughts about reactions made to them. They live in Twitter hell. But Twitter hell is your own creation. Nobody is drafted to Twitter. You know, people I think feel compelled to go on there to defend themselves or to get followers or whatever. I've never heard of anything good coming out of Twitter. Every once in a while, a beautiful story goes viral, but otherwise, it's a lot of crap. As far as I can see, we just joined Twitter, so it remains to be seen for us. But so, as a matter of principle, I do think it is okay to react to and review. To shred someone in a review, to just insult them and to lie, to be dishonest and be hateful, that shouldn't be a matter of prerogative. The truth and a lie aren't the same thing. And with YouTube, when things go up, they're there forever. I know we kind of live in a post-truth world where you can say something to a camera, recorded, broadcast globally, and then 20 minutes later say, I didn't say that, you misunderstood. So we can all of a sudden now absolve ourselves of a responsibility as a communicator and say, it wasn't me, all of you got it wrong. It wasn't that I said something out of line, it's all of you didn't get it. So we can disperse blame into the audience. Well, I am the audience, and this is the reaction that I have. So, next part. Was it out of line for, like, mostly me, a little bit Mark, to follow Tommy's cancer journey and do reviews to it? Well, no, I don't think it was. Again, I'm fighting glare here, so. It was on YouTube. It was content. It was our esophageal cancer journey. And there are many, many cancer journeys of all sorts of health concerns and other things on YouTube. So this wasn't groundbreaking, not to diminish it and say, you know, this wasn't, every story has its own twist to it, obviously. So this was something that wasn't unheard of, but something people do. Other stories, to my observation, looked wildly different than this happened to. But I'm going to try not to comment on the actual quality of the care in the videos. I've shared that many times. A lot of people have also very strongly shared their opinions about the kind of care that Cynthia provided for him as his primary caretaker. You know what I think. And it'll probably come up a little, but that's not the point of this video. So, as far as commenting on it, it was, well, we'll get back to that in a second. Was it Tommy's idea to document his cancer journey? Now, Cynthia says yes. Okay. And that he's a very stubborn man. That I believe. I believe Tommy was very stubborn. I suspect he was probably still smoking right up until surgery, possibly after the chemo. Because I know guys like that. And sweethearts, but stubborn, very stubborn. But just because a person says yes after 3 days of badgering does not mean they agreed to it. If a person doesn't agree to something off the bat, or says no, and their decision isn't respected and is met with ultimatums, badgering, threats, guilt, that is not respecting somebody's decision. That is coercion, it's manipulation, it's borderline. People would use the word abusive. I don't know if I would, but it could be used. Not physical. Here's what's going to happen. She's going to hear the word abusive, and she's going to make a video saying, I said she hit her husband, because she needs drama and another video. But, you know what I mean. Was it his idea to put it all on camera? Maybe, maybe not. It's hard to tell, because he passed away. So all we have is Cynthia's version of what happened. He was incapacitated for a large part of it, barely able to speak, and after coming out of either the first surgery or the second unnecessary one, which was brought on by poor care, from the he was not well. He just was not with us after that. His idea to film in specific videos, I think no. When the feeding tube fell out, was the first thing Tommy said, get the tube, or was it get the camera? Because the first thing that happened was someone got the camera to film it. When he was having sort of a very personal, very vulnerable crying moment over the fact that they got a wheelchair, was her first instinct as a wife to console him and say, this is so wonderful, we're so blessed? Or did he say, get the camera? When Tommy's in the background saying, I'm in pain, and she's saying, sit up, they can't see you. And he says, I'm in pain. She's like, I know, I can't see your voice. Was it his idea to participate in the video that day? Or the day when, Tommy, what did you do today? I ate. What else did you do? I exercised. What else did you do? Trying to coerce out of him to say on camera that he had a bowel movement. Was that his idea to bring it up? It wasn't in the front of his mind because he said 8 other things first. So, as far as needing money during this, I don't know. Maybe yes, maybe no. Some people did offer money. We found out later after the fact that Cynthia left out that Tommy's coworkers gave her some money, but it wasn't enough, so she didn't think it was worth mentioning. Taking the Uber rides, he did have transportation to get to his appointments, and he made it a point. There's actually a video I'm going to play a spec from in a second about his surgery, but also for his chemo treatments, he was going back and forth, and he was going alone. And it was very conspicuous. Like, in one video, people will say, she can't even go with him to his appointments. He would never let her go alone. She would freak if he went alone, but, he would go without her. And then a very carefully deliberate, out-of-nowhere, non-sequitur, oh, by the way, I don't mind going to my appointments alone. Rest in peace. So, all these things being relative, Cynthia still wants to try to put out blame. I didn't make him have this surgery. They keep saying I made him do it. I didn't make him do it. He was very stubborn. Okay, so he didn't want the surgery. I didn't force him, was the other part of it. There was also a very, very large information gap that was available to them. So when decisions like this are being made publicly, broadcast, and you have just a little knowledge of some of these things and how they work, and you can't comment and say, don't you understand this kind of surgery is more than a one-night thing? It feels like it needs to be screamed because you're watching a vulnerable person given poor information going into a scenario, and you want to say, is anybody doing anything? But I want to give a small shout out to Candy Unfiltered Morgan, because I went video hunting and could not find the one I wanted, but lo and behold, she had it. Now, this video is pretty much one of the last videos before Tommy went into surgery. He had had chemotherapy and was doing okay. The odds they gave, according to Cynthia, and I think even according to him, weren't spectacular for his prognosis so many years out. But he was looking better. He was gaining weight. He could get a boost down a couple times. And the setup for this is that, again, it's Candy, so some of her commentary is in there. So it's Candy's reaction to Tommy and Cynthia talking, and they're discussing the surgery. And he's not eager to have the surgery. And this is video. This is filmed. I'm not reading into this. And we'll just listen to Cynthia's response when Tommy says, we'll see, I'm not sure. Make sure the volume's up on this. Thank you, Candy. We've never met, but I like you.
Yeah. He will not agree yet, people. He's driving me crazy. He's not saying he's having the surgery.
Yeah, so now he's really pissing you off. Maybe he drove you crazy.
He's not saying he's
now
having the surgery.
Pissing you the fuck off.
He still won't agree to it.
No. Well, I'll see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, he's afraid of the surgery. He's afraid because the other problem, he won't be able to lay flat the rest of his life.
Yeah, I gotta ask about that.
That's what's upsetting him a lot.
Yeah.
Can't lay flat.
But I think...
Poor Tommy. He should have gotten a little more time to think about it because he's really seeming worried about this.
Yeah. He's worried.
Shit, that's sad.
If you don't eat before you go to bed, an hour before...
I'm gonna learn how to edit and fucking make a documentary on him.
There won't be anything to come up, so...
Yeah. Well, we shall see.
We shall see. His final word.
Alright, pray this man changes his mind, people, because he needs the surgery.
Pray he changes his mind. He needs the surgery.
Alright, everyone.
Alright, thank you for watching.
Yes, pray, because end result was I'm happy, he's happy, I'm fucking so happy.
Pray
End
that he
result
changes his
is
mind because he
happiness, right?
needs the surgery.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you for your prayers.
Thank you for your prayers.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Keep praying for me, please.
Yeah, that's the most important thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Alright, bye.
Thank you. Bye.
It's a mail just...
So, that is where, sorry for the distortion, I was just trying to get something out, and, you know, fair use, I'll put the thing below. So, she was trying to convince him that he needed it. Now, whether or not, I imagine Cynthia would probably say, the doctors told me he needed it, and I was trying to convince him. If the doctors told her he needed it, I imagine somewhere along the lines they would have mentioned that the recovery time was more than a day or so. But at any rate, that was just to kind of, you know, put that in perspective. You know, when she says nobody forced me, it's like, well, nobody forced him. Well, he wasn't eager. Then again, who'd be eager for surgery? But he wasn't being supported in his decisions. He was being directed towards another. So there's that. And so when it came up that there was a confrontation, not a confrontation, but when it was brought to Cynthia's attention that, you know, it all came to head in her spilling tea video this week. There needed to be people to blame. Mistakes were made. Others will be blamed. So a little blame came our direction, allegedly, for, I don't know, making comments about this cancer journey. And why don't we make comments about somebody else's cancer journey? I think it was Chadwick Boseman. Because something to do with his masculinity, which made no sense. And why not track his? His was private. That's the point. There was no digging. I'm not an investigative journalist. This was on YouTube. I didn't have to go hunting for this. It was in my suggested playlist, right next to videos about making ham salad. So I didn't have to dig too far. It was right there, right out front and center. And if things were found to be objectionable, then there was room to talk about it. I mean, what kind of feedback did you think it was all going to be good? I don't know. And then the blame came on to Tommy's family. It was another one of those, nobody called, nobody checked on us. They had cars. 2 of them were retired, so I know they had nothing to do all day. Cynthia, you're unemployed. Do you have nothing to do all day? Don't make sweeping assumptions like that. You know you don't work, but you work, you know. You're busy. We'll say that. According to you, you're busy, even though you're not, like, full-time employed or anything. So just because they're retired doesn't mean they're not doing anything. And it doesn't mean they're obligated to do anything, either. And all of it is kind of moot, because you changed the phone number so nobody could call. You changed the phone numbers. This is the difference between being the victim and the perpetrator. When nobody can call because you changed the phone numbers, that's your fault. Nobody can reach Tommy because a roadblock was put up between his family and him by you. Did Tommy change the phone numbers? How can anyone call? How could they do it? Oh, they all watched the videos. You didn't mention any of the videos where his care was because you didn't want people like them coming to visit. There was a blackout list. Nobody come. This is not as much even about this specific scenario, but more about a kind of person, a kind of personality type. Set up a big mess, cause a big mess, and then say you're the victim of the big mess. I don't know what to say about that. I think I said it in the last I said it in the last live. We were talking about Foodie Beauty versus Cynthia. Like it's a celebrity match or something like that. Oh, God forgive me. But, I always compare and contrast the two a little bit. And I had said, because Foodie Beauty acknowledges she has some shortcomings. A few. Whether or not she does anything about it is an entirely different story, and for another video. But she's not a perfect person. She acknowledges issues here and there. So if you take Foodie Beauty, and you take Cynthia Beaumont, and you put each of them in a long-term, let's say a year, inpatient mental health facility, for whatever reason, Foodie Beauty will come out with maybe a little bit of a game plan. Maybe a little better. Cynthia would come out exactly the same, because Cynthia doesn't think there's anything wrong that needs changing. She thinks her interactions with people are the consequence of other people's behavior. She thinks the world is full of assholes. Not that she may need to change the way she addresses people. So, I mean, what would my great-grandmother say? She's as happy as if she were right. That was her very passive-aggressive Irish Catholic way of saying, screw 'em. It's along the lines of bless her heart. I learned that too. That's out of the southern part of, I have some friends from the South. Did have, and that worked its way into my speech for a while ago. I like it too. It basically says yourself, but it does it in a very polite way. So where does this week leave us? Well, aside from this, I mean, it was pretty much, there was a lot of Giftgeschenke. I love saying it in German, even though I don't say it right. Gift giving from other folks. So the gift giving seems to be a little extreme. It comes back to back to back. If you're looking at views on her videos for the last, I'll say, week, there's an average video for her. I mean, she has so much footage. I think her average view time on a video is probably 3 minutes, but that's not a bad, I mean, it's not great, but considering the length of her videos now are like 45 minutes. But she has old videos that are like a minute, but they got a bunch of views. I think her most viewed video is her 800-calorie diet. It's a very short video, but it's got like 500,000 to 600,000 views. So things skew all over the place. Blaming the algorithms doesn't seem to work, though. I think there's just not a large audience to watch two cats lick a lollipop. Putting it out there. Kudos to going on TikTok and expanding your brand. I think that's a good thing. But when the gifts start coming in, it's not Cynthia's style. It's just not her style to say, oh my god, thank you, this is too generous, it was just too much, please, thank you with the gifts. Now, she did say it with the cookies, because that much sugar is not good for a person, and she kind of put the brakes on that, whoa, with the cookies. So she's not going to be those cookies will get eaten, but not, Too much sugar is bad. Want another boost? So at any rate, no one, I think, begrudges her for the gifts coming. I think they just find it to be very confusing. I find it to be confusing for the most part. And again, if she's buying herself the stuff, it's because she can afford it, which means I don't give dick about watching her channels somewhere else where the money doesn't get sent to her. And it's how she's getting by. I think she kind of isn't surprised by it. She relies on it, which is not a good place for her to be in. Relying on the fact that people may be sending you things for your pets or for your home or to eat or anything like that is not good. You can, by the amount that you work, if you put in some effort, grow the revenue you get from your channel from AdSense and things like that. If you want to do super chats and have live chats, she's eligible to do super chats. There's no reason she can't. I kind of have some ideas why she won't. But there's no reason she couldn't to bring in some revenue. But if she's expecting gifts to keep filling that as part of her revenue, that's not going to always be the case. She might not always be so charming. There might not always be another person so generous who is going to fund the Widow Beaumont's lifestyle and keep her in the lifestyle to which she is accustomed. So that will be, going forward. As far as just reactions on the whole week, she's due for another crisis, a big drama crisis. I haven't heard anything about the stalker incident this week. I don't know. So I guess we'll see. It's either going to be something racial. She did lay in on teachers this week, again. Whatever. And how she was bullied and no one did this and no one did that. She's got an axe to grind on the education system. It's because she hates Tommy's school. And because she was bullied, and I can believe Cynthia was bullied almost to death. Awkward teens plus Cynthia Beaumont. My awkward teens were shit. I can imagine hers were pretty bad too. So, at any rate, going forward into next week, racial drama, teacher drama, another stalker, secret admirer, something that's going to pull at least 2,000 views on a video, where the other ones, her views are kind of looking like ours a little bit, actually. When she does drama, she gets a lot of views. When we do drama, we get a lot of views. When we do our own stuff, which we love, views are more moderate. They're kind of a bit lower. I don't think she likes making any of the content she makes, actually, which is unfortunate because she's a YouTuber full-time. So thank you all for watching. Please do subscribe. Hit the like button and bell on your way out so you get the alerts. You can follow Mark and I on Facebook at SmokeySteveAndMarc, or on Instagram at SmokeySteveAndMarc, or on Twitter. Our handle is at SmokeySteveA. Our email address and contact info is all listed down below. Thank you again, and Mark and I will catch up with you tomorrow. Have a good Thursday and take care of yourselves, all right? Bye.